Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lieutenant Stephen Rogers. Thank you for joining me for these next few minutes. As you are aware, I do come on the air from time to time on a very important topic against the surface that is going to affect our great and wonderful country. Well, I just did a number of media hits, and the discussion I had with all of the hosts and all of these networks was what has happened in the past 48 hours with regard to the United States military. Now, for those of you who don't know, the U.S. military commander, U.S. Space Force commander, was relieved of duty. He was relieved of duty. Why? Well, according to the general that relieved him of his duty, the military lost confidence in this colonel's ability to lead. Now, what is that all about? Well, the fact of the matter is, and the media is reporting, that the real reason why this colonel, this Army colonel, was relieved of his duty at the Space Force Command was because he spoke out against Marxism and communism and critical race theory. Now, folks, here's the problem that I see with this. And I said this on the networks, and I'll say it right here and try to get you all to understand the road we are going down. I said a year ago that the socialists, the Marxists, and the communists are beginning to infiltrate every aspect of our lives. It began back in the days Ronald Reagan was not in office, but when Ronald Reagan was the president of the Screen Actors Guild back in the 50s and 60s, where he began to fight against the Soviet Communist Party. And so that's where it all began with communism. But President Reagan, when he became president, was able to bring all that he was able to do with regard to addressing the assault from the communists, and he sent them where? To the ash bin of history. But now things have changed again, folks. When President Trump was in office, we had no problem with the communists, no problem with the socialists, no problem with the Marxists. But we have that problem now because we have a federal government who's embracing their ideology. Now, look, they'll deny it. They'll say, well, you know what, Lieutenant, I think you're going a little bit overboard. But folks, to me, and I'm entitled to my opinion in this country, the fact of the matter is that to me, I'm starting to connect a lot of dots like everyone else is. And this is not a conspiracy theory, all right, folks? This is just concluding or drawing conclusions based on what we're seeing. For goodness sakes, we're not blind. So you got the Chinese communists infiltrating through their Confucius Institutes, universities across America, and now some high schools. You got the communists, the socialists, the Marxists. What are they doing, folks? They're in our businesses. They're in our industry. They're in our educational institutions. They're in religious institutions. Now we wake up today and we find out that a U.S. military commander who wrote a book, by the way, that now has become a bestseller, wrote a book calling out the Marxist and communist agenda beginning to infiltrate in the United States military. So instead of the military embracing this guy for doing what? For calling out our enemies, they relieve him of his command. There is something fundamentally wrong with that, folks. Now, they could use every excuse they want, but the fact of the matter is that this colonel, this Army colonel, he said what was on the minds of millions of Americans. He called out the communists. He called out the socialists. He called out the ideology of Marx, Lenin, and Stalin. And what does the military do? They relieve him of his command. Now, folks, I said this on the air. I said this on national news media just a few moments ago. And I also said this. We the American people have to engage this ideology. We've got to, folks. I mean, every day I wake up, I'm beginning to see our freedom slip away. And I know you see it. And I know a lot of people in this country are so very upset. They feel powerless and hopeless. They just simply don't know what to do and how to do it. And the reason why a lot of American people don't know what to do is that we don't have any leaders, or I should say, we don't have many leaders standing up and fighting for what is right, fighting for our constitutional rights. I feared this. Believe me, I feared this, folks. And the reporter that I was just on with on one of the major news networks, we were off camera, and she said, you know, you told me months ago that you feared what just happened was going to happen. And I said months ago, I said maybe a year ago, that we must keep our eyes on those who are embracing the ideology of Marx, Lenin, and Stalin. We have to keep our eyes on those who are embracing communism, because you know what's next? Our military. That's what's next. People laughed. Come on, Lieutenant, you're kind of really going way out there. Well, it happened, folks. It happened. And look, I am a retired United States Navy lieutenant commander. I spent 25 years of my life taking an oath of office to do what? To fight the communists, to fight Leninism, Marxism, Stalin, to fight that ideology. As many of my colleagues, military officers, the rank and file, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, my goodness, our kids shed their blood to fight our enemies. And now you got a military commander, a lieutenant colonel in the Army, who stood up and said, you know, we've got to call the enemies out. Just reveal to the American people what in the world is going on here. And he did. And the result is what I read earlier. In fact, I give you the names, folks. How about the names? I just tweeted this out. Lieutenant General Stephen Whiting relieved Colonel Matt Latimer of command due to what? Now, this is a template military reason why you relieve commanding officers. Due to loss of trust and confidence in his ability to lead. The media is reporting that this lieutenant colonel actually spoke against Marxism, Leninism, and communism. So this general decides that he's not going to pat the guy in the back and saying, go get him there, Colonel. He fired him. He relieved him of command. What kind of message that send to your kids, my kids, all of our children who and people supporting the U.S. military? Now, folks, I've got to tell you, I also tweeted this, and I hope you're in agreement with me. I said to the general that dismissed and relieved this colonel of command that the American people lost confidence in your ability, meaning the general's ability to lead. So, folks, now we've got the Biden administration sitting back, doing nothing, not talking about this. We've got Republicans in office who I just can't imagine. Now, I want you to listen to this, folks. I can't imagine a lot of the Republicans in office staying silent on this. And I'll tell you why. Think about this. The military claims in their investigation, so-called investigation of this incident regarding this lieutenant colonel, who they relieved of duty, that this colonel took a partisan position when he wrote his book. Partisan, folks. In other words, all of a sudden, the Communist Party becomes a partisan party within the United States of America. So they use that excuse. Those are their words, not mine. Now, you ready for this one? So here's what I spoke about on the air. If that is a fact, that they are claiming that he took a partisan position with regard to his criticisms of Marxism and communism, then every single, hear me now, every single elected official in the United States Senate, in the House of Representatives, and every elective office from school boards all the way to the White House who are presently in the United States military reserves must resign or get relieved of their commands and get relieved of their positions in the military. Could you imagine, folks, that the congressmen, we got a lot of congressmen, senators in the United States military reserves. That's a fact. Well, they've got a problem because right now, if this is upheld, those congressmen and those senators who are doing what? Who are standing up for this country and who are calling out the communists and calling out the Marxists, they're going to find themselves in trouble. They're going to be brought up on charges in the United States military and dismissed or relieved their command. See what's going on, folks? Do you see what's going on? You know, Ronald Reagan said his biggest problem back in the 50s and 60s when he was fighting the Soviet communists was to convince the American people, to make them very well aware that this is a clear and present danger to the United States of America. He said that. And today, I find myself and others of us who are fighting against them to convince the American people that, folks, our liberties and freedoms are really in danger. And as I said, when you go from the Communist Party monkeying around, if you will, or infiltrating, better word, our businesses and our industries, when they're infiltrating our schools, and now within the past 48 hours, they're infiltrating the United States military, we've got a problem. Now, look, they were infiltrating the military, and I said this on the air just a few minutes ago, quite some time ago. And here's how they were doing it, folks. And I said these exact words. I'm going to say it exactly the way I said it on the media, on the major media networks just a few moments ago. While Vladimir Putin is building one of the strongest military machines that Russia ever had, while President Xi of China is building a massive, massive military machine in China, while North Korea is building their machine, while Iran is feeding Hamas to hurt and destroy our greatest ally, Israel. You know what the United States military is concerned about? Dragging our men and women into classrooms for weeks and months, training them to be politically correct. Training them to be politically correct. That's not an exaggeration, folks. When I was in the military, we were trained to be a fighting force to win wars, period. You go in, you destroy your enemy, and you come home. But the ideology of Marx, of Lenin, and Stalin has now creeped into the military, my opinion. And for those of you who are saying, well, you know what, Lieutenant, you shouldn't say that. Guess what? I'm an American citizen. I serve my country. I believe in the Constitution of the United States, and I'll say what I please. Simple as that. Until somebody wants to take my freedom away, and believe me, it ain't going to happen, folks. I'll say what I want to say, and I'll say what has to be said. Now, I've gotten the emails and I've gotten the messages from those who embrace the communist ideology, the atheist ideology, and on and on and on. You know what? Send me all you want, because you're not going to stop me, and you're not going to stop anybody who supports this country. Campaign for America is a mere vehicle. It's a vehicle. It's a platform that gives us the ability to reach out to our fellow countrymen. You're not going to stop us. Absolutely not going to stop us. And you're not going to stop those of us who believe in the right to assemble, who believe in the right to bear arms, who believe in all the constitutional rights that through divine providence our founding fathers gave us. You're not going to stop us. But I've got news for you. This tipped the iceberg, folks. This really did, at least for me. And I know a lot of veterans are quite upset over this. A lot of people presently in the military are upset over this. Well, being upset is not enough. So what we're doing here at Campaign for America is we're asking military veterans, their families, not active military people. We don't want you to get in trouble. This is our turn to fight for you. You're fighting for us. Now we're going to fight for you. We're asking those veterans and their families to get in touch with us. To get in touch with us because we're going to draft a letter, okay? And remember, I'm making it clear, retired, honorably discharged, no active duty people. Like I said, we're going to protect our military troops. It's the same, right? We got to protect them because they can't exercise their freedom of speech. But I want to be able to launch a major address, if you will, really putting the military brass in their place. How dare they? How dare they think that they now have executive power over the people? You see how bad this has gotten, folks? You got some crazy congressional representatives thinking they have power over the people. You got these governors, these Democrat social governors who are exercising power over the people. You got a guy who wants to be president, who will never be president, but somehow got into the White House, and we know how that happened, power over the people. But let me say this, folks. Let me just add this. We, the people, do have the power over them. The problem is we're not exercising the power, and we need to exercise the power. We can't do it if we're sending emails to people saying we should do this, we should do that. We can't do it if we're constantly getting requests for money. I'm tired of that too. I mean, you notice we don't ask you for money. I don't want to ask anybody for money. I'm asking you to stand up for what's behind us. So it went from assault on our churches, assault on our freedoms, assault on our Constitution, infiltrating our business industry, and on and on and on. But this really, folks, this tipped the iceberg. When you're going after people in the military who love this country and who are calling out our enemies, what's next, folks? I just want you to let that sink that in. What is next? We have to do everything we could to stop this. And the way we do it is if we unite. Now, I've encouraged and I've asked Republicans across this country who are running for office to stop the name calling. Just stop your personal agenda. Do what's right. Stand up and walk shoulder to shoulder together for the country. But you know what? For the most part, it falls on deaf ears. People are more interested in their political agenda than in the agenda of the United States of America. Or if I may, the America First agenda. Say what you want about President Trump, those of you out there who accuse this guy of everything under the sun. He did, in fact, put America first, as Ronald Reagan did, and as a few others down the road, at least in my lifetime. Now, we, the people, have to put America first through our actions, and we have to support our troops. So here's what I'm encouraging you to do. If you know somebody in the military, or I'm sorry, a veteran who was in the military or family, please show them this video. Email us. I'm going to put up our email if I can find it. And I'll tell you what we do with your emails, all right, just to make this clear. I think this is it right here. Okay. Oh, yeah. Go to campaignforamerica.com. We have a contact page. Just your name and email, and we'll send you information. And we're not going to do anything with that, but keep it, because we'll send you some of the actions we want to take as a unified force. I'll tell you, I don't think the Joint Chiefs of Staff have ever received opposition against what they're doing than what they're going to face now. And I can only hope and pray that the people respond to us here at Campaign America. And by the way, it's not only going to be us. All day, we've been talking to other organizations around the country to join with us in this effort. We have to bring America back to where there's a check and balance. The courts are activists. They've gone too far. Executive branch has gone crazy. The legislative branch, they don't legislate anymore. They just dictate. I mean, our balance of power in this country has disappeared. But the people who love this country haven't disappeared, and we're not going to disappear. So I'm pleading with you, because of the future of our freedoms, the future of this country, please just send us your email. And I'll tell you, folks, it's not going to be followed up with, oh, gee, we'd like to have a $20 donation. Not going to happen. This is more important than what you could ever put a dollar value on. I don't want to see my grandchildren growing up in a country that has a red flag and a hammer and sickle on it, because, folks, that's where we are headed. Now, this isn't overstating. This is not understating. This is stating the facts. So I implore you, take a look, Google the story. It's out there about this colonel in the Army was relieved of duty for doing what? I believe he was on Jesse Waters last night, and he's going to make his rounds. But interesting enough, and thank God, his book that revealed all this is now a bestseller. So, folks, take a look at this, study it, look at it. All I can ask you to do is please email us. The email, campaignforamerica.com. That's our website. And just go to the contact page, and hopefully we'll have a few thousand people will be able to join together. And look at, folks, we don't even want your name, all right? You send me the email, all right? We're going to email everybody back as to what we would like to do and want to do. And then at that time, you could give us your name. If not, you know what? It is what it is. But, folks, we need to stand up. I mean, we really do. This is, like I said, this is really bad stuff. When they start firing U.S. military officers for speaking for America instead of against America, instead of against communism. I mean, it's incredible. So this guy speaks for America. He goes against the Communist Marxist Party, and he gets fired for it. All right, that's it. That's it, folks. I said every once in a while I'd come on if there was a critical issue. I don't think there's any more of a critical issue than this. We'll speak more about this Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. on our regular Campaign for America broadcast. And we have a couple of individuals from Jexit will be on the air with us. We're going to be talking about what's happening in Israel and why on earth the United States of America isn't putting Hamas and Iran and terrorist groups in their place. Another problem, another time to talk about it. Thank you so much, folks. Please share this. I'm Lieutenant Stephen Rogers. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Please, campaignforamerica.com. Thank you very much.